Mike Owens here. Today I'm joined by Robert the Reaper Whittaker, who returns to action UFC 298, facing Paulo Costa in Anaheim, California. Rob, great to sit down and chat for the first time. How are things for you today?
Yeah, very well, mate. Very well. Thank you very much for having me.
No, the pleasure is all mine. I actually wanted to start by saying I know a couple of days ago, the 26th, was a national holiday for you guys for Australia Day.
Hmm.
How
Yep.
did you spend your bank holiday?
In the gym. Yeah, I was in the gym just hustling. There's not much to do now between now and the fight. Everything, especially now it's crunch time. We're in the last few weeks before I fly over to the US. So it's really important to really just tighten up the bolts, fine tune the last things we can, and yeah, make sure there's no stone left unturned.
100%. Do kinds of bank holidays, Christmas, birthdays, do they go out the window in fight camp?
Yeah, it's funny, eh? I was speaking about that with someone else the other day. MMA guys, like MMA athletes, you guys in the UFC, we don't have holidays.
Mm.
Like public holidays for us don't really exist. Granted, like for the other 360 days of the year, we're pretty good. We train, we come home, we sleep, we eat, and life's pretty good. But for those celebratory weekends or days away or public holidays or bank holidays, yeah, we don't get those. They don't exist. When you're in camp, you're in camp.
Well, look, you're a busy man in terms of your day job. I know you're also a busy man in terms of having number five in the world. I know that your daughter was born, I think just about 3 weeks ago now, just over 3 weeks ago. How is life in what is, I presume, a very busy Whittaker household?
Yeah, it's just busy. Like anyone with kids really will know that. What? Yeah, they just add a certain element of chaos into your life. It is tricky, trying to navigate the waters around your pregnant wife, and then obviously your wife that's just had a baby, and then the newborn, and then the sleep deprived wife, and then the other four kids that just don't care or
Mm.
they just don't get it, right? And then obviously go to these sessions trying to reduce your calories to get skinny. It's a delicate balance, but no, n- nothing worth having is easy, right?
Mm. My next question, I was going to ask you what is the best and what is the worst thing about having a newborn in fight camp. You've kind of touched on some of the challenges there, so I'd like to know, what is the biggest positives, if at all, of having a newborn in fight camp?
Oh, the positives is just I got a new baby. I got
Mm.
a Yeah, I've got new life in the family. We've added another addition, which like it is hard to truly express what it does to the family dynamic and to me as a person, to me as a father, because like you've got this little bundle of potential which could be anything. They haven't grown into their personality yet. They haven't developed their traits or habits or quirks and there's
Mm.
just so much unknown, and it's so exciting. It's so exciting. And so to bring that into the fold of what was already a hectic household is just it's fun. You either embrace the chaos or cry, right? So
Mm.
so
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
Well, congratulations. As I mentioned a couple of times, you probably got to talk about your day job and maybe get away from the family dynamic. As I mentioned there, in about 2.5 weeks' time, you'll be back in action facing Paulo Costa. Size this one off for me, Rob. Give me your overall assessment or your scouting report of what you see when you look at Paulo.
Yeah, Polo's strong, man. He's a big, powerful puncher. He's a big, strong guy. He's aggressive. He can go in there. He's very dangerous. He's got strong kicks. He's got strong punches, and he's one of those guys that if you give him space, if you let him fight his fight, he'll bully you, and he'll take advantage of that passiveness and go after you. And I do not intend to let him have that. I'm going in there with bad intentions. I'm looking to go into this fight to really hurt him. And that's just the mentality I've adopted for this fight because I want to get back into that winning circle. I want to utilize the skill sets and the training that I've been putting in for this camp. And the best way to do that is through him.
When you look at Paulo as an upcoming opponent, is it his skills that are the key factor, or is it his will that is the key factor. Which of those two do you think is the bigger thing you've got to watch out for?
I think a bit of both. I don't believe anybody in the UFC, especially at the level that we're at, in the top 10, top 5, nobody reaches that point without having a headspace to fight or having the will or ability to fight. Nobody can reach those heights, those levels. But like I mentioned earlier, he's the type of fighter that he likes to bully his opponents. He wants to get in there. He wants to be the bigger guy, the aggressive guy. He wants opponents that are hesitant to go in because they're intimidated by him. He wants guys that are intimidated by him. And that's where I'll beat him, because I'm not intimidated by him. I'm not scared of anything he's got. I'm better across the board at everything that he is. And my headspace going into it is the best it's been. I'm going in there with bad intentions. I'm going in there to try and close this fight early. And yeah, this is what I want, and this is what I'm going to make happen.
This is obviously your third time preparing for Paulo. I know you guys have been scheduled twice before. How has your preparation changed from the first time that you were booked to fight Paulo to now? Have things altered in many ways?
I think like camps and training change, constantly. It's I don't train the exact same way I trained last year, and especially with last fight and the result of last fight, there were some things I wanted to change in the camp and my day-to-day training. So I've been adjusting on the go for a long time. But I think the choreograph of the fight itself and how it's going to play out, and the things we utilize to take advantage of certain weaknesses or trying to create opportunities, they stay the same. Because for one, he hasn't fought a ton. So that hasn't given him a great deal of time to develop and change the way he fights. And two, like, it's a big part of my strengths is trying to focus on my strengths, take my fight to them and let them deal with it. And I believe it's worked for me so far. So I'm gonna keep running with that.
You mentioned there the inactivity. I did want to ask you about the last couple of years in Costa's career, because dare I say, as the armchair quarterback journalist, but it's been a little bit strange, hasn't it, when you look at the weight kind of the weight situation with Marlon Vettori, the fight with Luke Rockhold in Salt Lake City. I think there's been 4 or 5 fight cancellations since that title loss to Adesanya. What have you actually made when you look at Paulo Costa's career in the last couple of months?
Yeah, it's funny because I'm upset with how many times I've been able to fight in the recent years, just because of one reason or another, because of him. A bunch of the times because of him, right? It's upsetting though, not being able to fight the amount that I would like. Being at the lower end of the fight time. But in saying that, it is what it is. He is. Yeah, I can't speak on his dynamic or what he's doing. He's a bit of a strange character at the best of times. But I do know that the only way to get better at fighting is to fight. And the more times you're in there, you're just increasing your experience and your ability to process that. So, yeah, let's see if it hampers him at all.
He threw fans into uproar a little bit 2 days ago when he tweeted the word fuck. I think he had over 100 comments on that tweet of people presuming that he'd pulled out of the fight. At what point in the build-up to this fight do you say Paulo Costa is 100% turning up on the 17th, or do you not even let that come into your mind?
Yeah, I don't even care. He loves being an internet troll. He loves organizing things like that. Doing things like that. I don't really pay attention to it too much. But I'm not worried. The UFC will give me someone to fight on that date, and I'm training like a demon right now to beat somebody up on that date.
Well, if we obviously want to keep the conversation on the Costa fight, because I'm sure it will happen. When you look at this fight, you look at your position in the middleweight division, ranked number 3 now. What is on the line in this fight? What do you think is the key kind of takeaway should you get a win?
I think winning opens every door. Winning, winning the world's my oyster. It's about getting in there and I guess just fulfilling my potential, like utilizing all the training and the months and the years that I've been working towards a singular goal into effect. I want to get in there and I want to do what I can do. And that was what was so disappointing about the last fight. It's just I didn't live up to my potential. I didn't do what I had trained for. And that to me is much worse than losing a fight. But I'm going, like I said, I'm going there with the headspace. I want to close this shop early when I get in there, and I want to fly to the US, smash Paulo Costa, and go home. That's the plan. That's the travel itinerary right now.
You mentioned the last fight there against now champion Dricus duplessis. I think I saw in another interview that you mentioned that about not fulfilling your potential. But when you've actually looked back on the tape, how do you actually assess the loss from a tactical standpoint?
Oh mate, what can I say? Like, I stand by what I said. I don't think I lived up to my potential. I think I could fight better than that. I can perform better than that. Yeah, and you know what? People know I can perform better than that. But he's an awkward dude. He's a tough dude, and he's hungry. He wanted it, and he showed that in his title fight, which is why he's the champion now as well. He wanted it, and you got to give him props when they're due. So.
Did you, out of interest, did you score the title fight last Saturday for Dricus, or did you think it should have gone to Sean?
Yeah, I was pretty confident Dricus won that fight. I was actually surprised to see all the controversy and the differing opinions after the fact. But yeah, it was a good fight.
From a Robert Whittaker perspective, was it a good or bad result for you last Saturday night? And what I mean by that is in terms of getting that middleweight title back that you covered so much, was it a good thing that Dricus won the title?
It honestly, it doesn't bother me. So I want to fight Sean. I want to fight Dricus. I want to fight all these guys anyway. It does, like, it makes me happy in some sense that Dricus won the title, because to beat me and then win the title, mate, like, it takes a sting off a little bit more. He's obviously a tough dude. He's obviously a strong guy, but I want that rematch with him anyway, and to beat him, to run that one back, especially for the title, makes it all the sweeter.
It all signs are pointing to Dricus duplessis making his first title defense against Israeladesanya. In either case, Rob, that would be a rematch for you. In the Adesanya case, a trilogy. Which of from your perspective, who would you want to win that fight if to look at the future rematch with either man?
Well, I would like to run it back with Dricus, just because I feel like I underperformed in our first bout, and that is something I want to do. But honestly, I'm not investing too much thought in other opponents, because Costa is a hard guy. He's a strong guy. He's a very dangerous opponent, and I'm not going to make the mistake of underestimating him.
Out of interest, and this kind of the last point I want to mention on the title picture, but there's been 4 champions at your weight class in the last 12 months: Pereira, Adesanya, Strickland, and Dricus duplessis. What do you make of the turnover, and if you like the instability in terms of the top end of the title picture? Is there a reason that you can maybe put your finger on that, or is it just the way that the sport sometimes works?
Mate, it's just the way the sport sometimes works. We're in a changing time, and it's rife with opportunity. It makes for an exciting division. It just makes for exciting times, especially to be a middleweight. Anything can happen, and yeah, it's exciting, mate.
Well, let's turn the conversation back to you and your upcoming fight against Paulo Costa. What I would like you to do, Rob, and you can be as brief or as detailed as you like with this question. I would like you to give me a walkthrough of the perfect day on February 17th. So I'd like to know what happens when you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep at night in a perfect world.
Yeah, I guess wake up, have some brekkie, chill out, play some video games, just hang out, just rest, don't do too much. Head for the fight, stretch, warm up, walk in there, do the whole jazz, touch gloves, and then just land the two right on his chin. Call it early. Call it, wrap it up really quick, and then go home, grab some pizza, chicken winner dinner.
100%. Last one from me, Rob. I want to take the cup conversation a little bit off topic for one final question, but you are synonymous with a lot of things. The 1-2 high kick, the tapping your chest as you walk to the arena, a couple of things that you're knocking people out, winning world titles, that sort of thing. You're also synonymous with facial hair because you have possibly the maybe only and certainly the best goatee in the UFC right now. I actually tried to grow a goatee and actually a mustache last week, and I was told I look like Ned Flanders from The Simpsons. So I'd like to know at what age and at what point in your life did you know the goatee was for you?
Mate, honestly, when I was about 19, I had a bit of a drunken experience with my friends, and I ended up falling over and landing on a windowsill, and I broke my jaw here, and I lost these teeth and broke my jaw, and they put a plate in there, and I don't know because they put the plate in there, I had like this bulge here. It was like swollen and bulging, and it just looked like I was deformed for a long time. So what I did from then on, like since the accident, I just grew out my facial hair to cover the lump and to cover the scar. And honestly, mate, I have never cut it. Like it was just something that I did to cover a scar, to cover, the bump, try and forget about, my idiocy at that time. And then it just caught on and it became my look. And now I don't think I could ever cut it.
Well, I apologize for bringing up a bad memory from your adolescent days, Rob, but never.
Mate, it wasn't. It's not a bad memory. If anything, it was a good one because I learned a lot of things from it. Makes for a good story that nobody knows.
Makes for a good story. Makes for a good, and I'm glad that I got to hear that today, Rob. Rob, it has been an absolute pleasure to talk with you this evening for me, this morning for you. Thank you so much for the time. It's great to catch up, and I wish you the best of luck for your next fight, my friend.
Thank you very much, and thanks again for having me. Have a good night.